Good morning, guys. Welcome to the pantry. I am eating breakfast in here today. Just some quick oats and some preserved apple slices. Even though I have fresh apples, it's such a nuisance to have to actually cut them up. So just opening a jar sometimes is that much easier. And I've also got my tea. What we are doing today, though, is we're going to feed my sourdough starters. I'm even going to feed my discard starter because we're going to get this. I'm not sure if I'm going to dehydrate it or freeze dry it, but that's how I started this batch and it worked really well. So we're going to do that again. A good rule of thumb when you're not like doing measurements is you want to feed your sourdough at least half of what it is. So I'm going to average that this is 2 cups. So I'm going to give this a full cup of flour. Now I'm risking this bubbling over because that's a lot to have rise. But I'm going to take my chances. Maybe I'll just put a plate under it. And this is my active sourdough. And tomorrow I'm going to make some bread with this. So I'm going to take you guys along for the journey doing that. So make sure you subscribe or follow or favorite this video so you'll get taken back for that loaf. I don't use full whole wheat. I use a white whole wheat. So this is 1/3 of a cup measure just because it fits in there good. I'm going to do 1/3 overflowing and maybe a regular 1/3 for this one. For this, I don't normally measure either. I just kind of give it a little bit of water and then I can always go back and add a little bit more flour if I want. It's really not that fussy. This needs more. You're going for like pancake mix consistency, but maybe a little bit chunkier. I would say this is about the consistency we want. And like I said, we're gonna be taking this tomorrow and turning it into a loaf. So we're gonna need a cup of this, which will leave me with a little bit in here that we will feed and continue on for the rest of the week. I just cover this with this bees wrap and leave it right here on the counter. Normally I would just bake something with the sourdough discard, but we're doing something different this week and that we're feeding it. And then we're going to dehydrate it so that we'll have some all set. In case we want to take a break from sourdough, we won't have to keep feeding our starter all the time. This is what my dehydrating station is going to look like. I have one more rack here to stack in case I need it. I'm just going to try to do it right here in the kitchen. It's nice and warm instead of putting it in the oven because I don't want to make crackers. And freeze drying, I could freeze dry it and I probably will do that with my next batch. But I got everything prepped and ready because once that starts rising, it's go time. I put this on the aga because it's nice and warm over here, but you can put it anywhere in your house that's nice and warm. Here's what these are looking for today. This thick one is still really wet in the middle. It's not quite like crisp yet. And I'm gonna get this ground and just back on this pan for more drying. I strongly recommend you try this if you are a little bit forgetful like I am, or if you just have a lot going on and feeding a sourdough starter every day isn't something that you feel like you can manage. I feel like when the weather is cold, I can manage it just fine, but the minute it gets warm and I start with more outside stuff, I really have a hard time keeping up with it. And this is a way to have some sourdough starter that you don't have to manage and that you can give away. To make this last longer, we can use an oxygen absorber, and I'm going to keep making this with my sourdough discards so that I have a nice backstock, and then I'm just going to go ahead and get it vacuum sealed instead of having to do this again. Now, what happened to me last time, because I had a batch of this, was I forgot to take this out when I ground it up. Now, this time I'm grinding it. I had kind of preserved it in the chunks last time, which worked too, but don't do what I did and grind up your oxygen absorber because then the whole thing is a waste. So we will see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget to share this video around. And a lot of you that are watching this, especially on YouTube, aren't subscribed. So please just subscribe.